Welcome everyone. This is Slip Giant. I am going to be trying some new content today. We are going to be talking about Urgot Top and some of the ways I like to play Urgot Top. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Watch the webcam as I'm still trying that rotating webcam feature and let me know what you guys think of it. As you can see, it just rotated. Pretty cool in my opinion. So the first rune I'm going to go over as Urgot, and I think this is an important choice depending on your matchup, is Conqueror. This is actually my least favorite rune to go, but I think it can be one of the strongest in the right situation. So some of the advantages of Conqueror is it's more of a scaling rune. As you can see, when we start hitting the target dummy, we're gaining these stacks of adaptive force, and we can just keep stacking and stacking with our auto attacks until we reach 12. Now this is something that it takes a while to stack. As you can see, it took me 9 autos to get Conqueror fully stacked just by auto attacking. So if we wait for that to reset, we will now try it with our W. You can see that we were able to stack it a lot faster there, especially with our knees from our passive, since they apply on-hit effects. Now if we just auto attack, it goes up just as fast, but we didn't do nearly as much damage because we didn't get our knee damage off. So let's read what Conqueror does. Basic attacks or spells that deal damage to an enemy champion grant 2 stacks of Conqueror for 5 seconds, gaining 1.7 attack damage per stack, stacks up to 12 times. So essentially, we're going to gain roughly 24 attack damage, but for ranged champions, we gain only 1 stack per basic attack. So it takes longer for us to stack it as Urgot, but our W kind of counteracts that. Once we stack it all the way, we heal 8% if we were melee, so we only heal for 5% as Urgot. Now I think this is really good because it gives us extra attack damage and healing, and we can stack it rather quickly, and I think it's really good against tanks. I like to take Conqueror when I'm playing against tanks, but it can be quite hard to stack, and you might not be able to stack it all the way in a quick range. Okay, I've loaded up a new game now, and we've changed our keystone to, I believe that's keystone. Well, our rune to Fleet Footwork. Fleet Footwork has a lot of advantages and disadvantages on Urgot. So let's read it and figure out what it does. Attacking and moving builds energy stacks. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized. Your energized attacks heal you and grant 20% more movement speed. So this keystone doesn't give you any extra movements or any extra damage, but it gives you sustain and movement speed. Now those things can lead to damage because you can survive longer, as well as be able to get more of your shotgun knees off because you can move around better. So one thing that I like to do with this keystone is try and win early lane. When I'm going and fighting someone and I see that I have 100 stacks built up and it's energized, I will just auto them and then run away. And with that extra movement speed, it makes it so it's harder for them to chase me. Now, I can also use it to run and try and keep up with them and auto them more. So you can use it for defensive or offensive play. One advantage of this is if I turn on my W, I have a little bit of extra movement speed to try and loop around this target dummy or enemy champion and kill it. And my W is also going to build stacks for this. So that's another thing. Even if I'm standing still, I'm building a lot of stacks very quickly for this. And if you pair this up with maybe like a hole breaker, flat cleaver, some of those other items that give you movement speed, since this is a percentage movement speed increase, it can be really strong. So this would help you get to the back line in a later game, or get around people, help you chase people down, which can be very helpful. Another thing in lane, whenever I have this rune or keystone, I always want to be moving. I never want to not be moving, because then when I attack, I'm just building it back up. I'm building it back up. Even if I'm just going back and forth and making small movements, I'm building up that energized attack and then auto attacking. And I'll try and weave in a few more auto attacks, but I'm just watching that. And whenever I build that up, I try and shoot it. Once that reaches 100, I say, can I trade with the enemy champion? Because if you try to do this on a minion, it becomes only 10% effective on ranged minions for Urgot. So I'm pretty much losing most of the healing power if I'm proccing this on minions. Imagine being able to gain 10 times as much healing if I just hit a champion compared to a minion. That could be a very big difference in how much sustain you have as an Urgot in any of your matchups. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go to press the attack. Okay, I have loaded up a game with press the attack. Now there are some advantages and disadvantages of this. You have to hit 3 autos in order to press the attack. Now this will give you a lot more damage, in my opinion, than some of the other runes and keystones. So let's read it and learn what it does. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 consecutive basic attacks, or your W as Urgot, deals 96 bonus adaptive damage based on level and amplifies your damage dealt by 8% until you leave combat with champions. So, if we hit this target dummy, we can see the marker on the enemy's ground, and then you can see that my press the attack modifier is still there above my abilities. So I'm able to do extra damage to this guy because I've done that press the attack damage to him. So one thing is, as long as I get 3 auto attacks on someone, I am able to do that first damage, but then I can continue doing more damage to them after it's procced. So this is something where I will want to fight, have that proc, and then continue to try and fight them because they're in a weakened state against me at that point. It's really good in 1v1 situations. It does take a while for press the attack to recharge, so in some of these quicker team fights you might only be able to proc it 1 time, whereas something like Conqueror or Fleet Footwork, Conqueror will just immediately transfer over to whatever enemy champion you're hitting, and Fleet Footwork is always going to be building and proccing with your movement speed and auto attacks, where this has just a longer cooldown to it. But it is honestly my favorite rune keystone, and that's the one that I prefer to go with in most of my matchups. Now I'd also like to show you guys a few more things that I like to do when I'm playing Urgot. So, for example, on your first wave, I like to start E, or if I'm leashing for my jungler, I like to start W and give a really strong leash with W and proc all my shotgun knees, and that will put your jungler ahead of the curve and hopefully get them on a faster path where they can gank bot lane and get a double kill because the enemy bot lane wasn't expecting them. But generally, if I'm not leashing the jungler, I like to start E. And when there are 3 minions that are about to die in front of me, I like to position me between the minions and the enemy. And then I'm able to E through the minions and flip the enemy and then auto attack him 3 times. I get that shield, and I will try and proc 3 of my shotgun knees, which will help me do extra damage, and usually they're running away by then. Now you have to be careful of this in certain matchups. Things like Olaf or Warwick just might be able to kill you still, even if you flip them with your E, they're stunned, you have a shield, and you proc a bunch of extra damage on them. So be careful and know your matchups before you're willing to do anything like that. Some other combos that I really like are that you can E-flash. This allows you to catch people off guard unexpectedly, and it's something that is one of my favorite Urgot tricks to pull off because people aren't expecting it. Sometimes I might be chilling here under my tower, I may be 25% health, the enemy's 50% health, chilling right here, and I just do that E-flash, flip them under my tower, they're stunned, taking tower aggro, and I'm able to just kill them. Another interaction that I like is if you can Q and then W, then E, and then shoot your ult while they're stunned. Being able to shoot that ult while they're stunned allows you to almost always land it. Unless they have a crazy amount of tenacity, you're always going to land that E. And the Q sets it up because it slows the enemy, you start shutting them down, you E, and then you ult. And if they aren't ready to be belly ground because they aren't down to 25% HP, Urgot's ult slows them for a percentage of their missing HP, and because you Q, W, E, they're usually missing a chunk of their HP, and you're able to keep with them and keep auto attacking them with your W. Now, one of the other bigger mechanics that I think is important is if you have multiple enemies. Let's just say there's a big 4-man, and we're going to put one target dummy over here, and we're going to refresh, auto refresh my cooldowns. Okay, so let's say I'm hitting this guy, I'm hitting this guy, I'm getting him down, he's practically dead. I shoot my ult, and then I can flash into the enemy team and spear them all. That can be a huge engage if you snipe one of the enemies and then you flash into their team and spear them all. It can be very hard to stop that and very hard to deal with this because it's very snappy and all the time. These are a few of my favorite things to do as Urgot. Let me know if you guys have any tips or tricks of your own or anything else that other people should know about Urgot. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed the video.